Hey, everybody, I'm so excited. I'm with my most favorite person to do my 6 months annual, well, semi-annual, because Deb and I do it twice a year. We are going to be doing the Astro Oracle reading for the weather report and for what you need to be aware of for the next 6 months. We're going to do it month by month. So go, Deb.
Go, Deb. So first of all, I want you to know the Earth has arrived. We are going to be grounded. Jupiter's in Taurus. It's a delicious summer. That's the good news. It starts off with right at the beginning of we're starting with July. There's no planets in air. So I want to start with that. So pay attention to your communication, because for this whole month, if a baby were born, it's much more of an emotional experience. Here's the deal. The sun in Cancer during the month of July, our favorite birthday girl right here. On the 3rd of July, it's a full moon. So as soon as the month begins, the energy starts to build, which is an emotional conversation, and that Colette specializes in. What do you do when you feel a full moon in Cancer? You allow yourself to feel your feelings. The good news is the moon's in Capricorn when it's opposite, but this is an emotional, there's a grounding. At the same time, there's sensitivity. Why? Because Mars is entering Virgo and it's asking you to analyze your feelings, be respectful for the sensitivity, but let yourself know Mars is in Virgo, Uranus in Taurus, we've got Earth. So you feel your feelings and then you say, what do I do about this? How do I ground? And on July 17th is a new moon. Write that down. So we've got the
That's
third.
my birthday.
Oh, it's on your birthday. It's guess what? It's double Cancer that day. So it's a highly charged. Now, people mistake Cancer for being all emotional and mushy and they're vulnerable. And it's not true. This is a month of getting things done. Mars is in Virgo, double Cancer, highly productive. And Venus goes retrograde July 22nd. So this only happens once this year that Venus is going backwards. So you might want to change and take a little opportunity to say, how's my relationship? Because that's where your emotional body shows up the most, right? If you're not in a relationship, it's time for you to review your values. If you are in a relationship, it's time for you to review the relationship because it's retrograde from, July 22nd to September 3rd. And then finally on July 22nd, the sun moves into Leo. So we'll talk about that for our next season. But during this emotionally charged with Mars in Virgo coming and Jupiter in Taurus, you use your emotional body. Why? To get motion. Get it? Emotion. Cancer is an emotional sign, and if you don't learn how to use it, then you become the poor victim, But you don't have to do that. Look at Colette. Cancer can be very productive and creative, and this is the month during your solar month. The one flavor I'm going to say is July 19th to 26th. The sun is opposite Pluto. Now, Colette has a story to tell. Pluto is her boyfriend. But for you late degree Cancers, the ones that are the very last week of Cancer, you are in transformation. And Colette just went through it. It's not a bad thing, but it's worthy of you to go get an astrology reading or go get an oracle reading, because when the energy is that big, it's time to do self-reflection. But for the rest of you Cancers, you're in for a really good solar month of tracking and paying attention to where you get stuck and using your practical results, which is what the divination cards are, or studying or using simple practical practices, walking barefoot during the summer. This is North America, letting yourself ground and let the emotional body have a turn. Is that not the nature of Cancer? If you try to suppress that, everything gets shut down and you're a victim and you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't want to have a birthday parties. How many Cancers hide under the bed? No, this is the month where you want to give yourself permission, especially during that full moon at the very beginning. I am going to allow myself to feel, and I'm going to follow my oracle cards. Go.
So July is also very interesting because it's requiring us to take a look at the way we speak to ourselves. So when
there's no air.
With no air, exactly, right? There's no air. And the center card is if the wild ones come with sticks. So which is really about negative self-talk. And it's interesting because it looks like a freaky crab, right? Like a crab being, right? So it's this, this real sense of perfectionism when it's not, the way in which we speak to ourselves, because Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer. Cancer is very emotional. And everything gets exaggerated around a full moon. So if you have this for yourself right now, it is an emotional thing when we sabotage ourselves through our negative self-talk. So this is great. What flanks it is the card when it's time to say goodbye, right? So this is about letting go and allowing things to die. And this is about the internal dialogue that really doesn't serve and relates to fear. When you feel insecure, it's around security, because of course there's Cancer. And it's also about the doing, like, because this prevents our doing, right? It's these kind of things really hold us back from actually fulfilling why we're here, our potentiality, etc.
Can I just jump in and add
Yes.
to this? I think we should just dance. Because when the emotional body is captured by negative talk, we
Right.
stay home and we go
Yeah.
in our bedroom and we watch videos and we don't motivate. So to your point, the internal dialogue must be tended to.
Yes, I love that you said that, especially when you said home, because Cancer or July is typically home, because Cancer represents home, right? So you have to be careful. Everybody does, not just Cancerians. Every single
Right.
person needs to remember this. The other thing is that joy is flanking it, painting joy across the sky, meaning that it's a choice. So everybody can see the card, but it's a
love
choice.
it.
Wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. So can you recognize both and? Yes, there is conflict, chaos, etc. in the outer world. Yes, internally, we have that sense of, lack of certainty, for example, that we actually create and recreate by our negative self-talk. But the antidote and the solution is not to deny that those things exist. It is to make a choice to also focus on, where could I be deeply grateful? Where could I have fun? And also, where can I get shit done? Right? That's with joy.
That's
like,
the Mars
where's
and
my
Virgo.
bliss?
Yes. But I want to add, if
Yeah.
you're not feeling this, as far as getting out of your internal dialogue to go get the joy, then go do therapy. This is a month to really be honest during the Cancer, especially when we get to the new moon. So I want to echo that. To actually get to the joy, you got to do whatever it takes to clear out your unconscious, to clear out the internal.
And I love that you say that, because, that's been, I think, one of the shadows of the whole concept of how we manifest reality, because people want to completely jump over the shadow content. But that's where the juice is. That's actually where we discover our liberation, is to go deep into that. It doesn't mean we stay there. Like, you don't stay in the underworld forever. You go there, you find the treasure, you bring it back. And so this is a great month to do that. The other thing is, I want to say, for those of you who are not feeling that, it is about saying goodbye so you could start something new. So it's like, I feel this movement forward that this offers us right now is something that, and to Deb's point earlier, that movement that like, we're going to get stuff done. This is true. It's great for business too. Interesting enough, it's the summer. It's like, if you have something for business that you're starting and that you really want to move forward, go to it. It's time to say goodbye to your past. Go ahead.
Because you know why? Venus is retrograde.
There you go.
So your love affairs with your work, with your partners that didn't work, during a Venus retrograde is a perfect time to say goodbye.
Yes.
And you have to reflect, is there anyone in my world that I'm blocked with that's stirring up my emotional body that I can let go of? So if any of you are ambivalent about your partner, this is a time to review. Mercury retrograde, we all review. Same with Venus retrograde.
I love that.
It's happening at the end of July.
So let's go into August now.
Okay. I hope people really get that. Do your emotional work, and there's mobility in July. People tell people that Cancers are stuck. That makes me so mad. All they got
I'm never stuck.
Colette. No, you're not stuck. It's the emotional body that keeps moving. Okay, we're still with no air in the chart. So we're back to the internal dialogue conversation. During August, there is no planets in air until August 27th. So a baby being born for all of July or August doesn't have that gift. And when you're missing air, and you can find out about it, just look at your charts and find out if you don't communicate easily, it's because you're missing air, and it's going to get amplified in July and August. So to your point, pay attention to your words. Like, deliberately choose to use your language, said the Gemini. Okay, here's the cool thing. This is really cool. There's a grand trine in Earth during August. So we have Mars and Virgo, we talked about, Uranus and Taurus, and Pluto went backwards into Capricorn. So I know it was in Aquarius for so long, but it's going to have a few months now backwards into Capricorn, went retrograde. So that's going to happen. It's the most productive time of this year. It's during Leo month that Mars in Virgo, Uranus in Taurus, Pluto in Capricorn, think about the grand trine in Earth, and then the fire energy of Leo saying, you know what, I did my work during July, I realized my emotional stuckness, and now I'm really feeling mobile, because there's no Leo that doesn't want to create something. So use that energy. The full moon is August 1st, the very beginning of the month. So be prepared. As soon as the month enters, the energy is building. Then we have the new moon on, you want to write this down, August 16th. So in those 2 weeks, the energy builds at the beginning of the month. And then by the 16th, we're going into double Leo, time for self-reflection. So that's a really important one. And here's the announcement. August 23rd, bye-bye Mercury. It's going retrograde. And I love what Colette says about it. This is a month to not be scared, because Leo is saying, let's go, get up. We've got a grand trine on Earth saying, here's your list of things to do. And you just processed your emotions during Cancer. Make sure during Leo, you're ready to use the summer energy. I want to hear the cards now.
Oh my God, I love that. So I love that you said use the summer energy, and the fact that there's a grounded quality to that grand trine in Earth. And then you have that fiery say, let's go, let's get going. Because there's another piece of that, which is to be flexible. So, and not be rigid, which
not
is
a Leo
right?
specialty.
And Leo is a fixed sign, right? So there's a tendency to be like, this is my way or the highway. So it says all the threads of fate must bend. So what's great about this is that whatever it is that you're choosing to do, there's a quality of resilience already built into it. And there's a quality of opportunity. If you are curious, if you bring your curiosity to the table in the month of August, you're going to find things like ways around things that you might be kind of bumping up against in such a way that you're like, oh, wow, this is a transformed way. This is a transformation of this. This is a new way of seeing that. And it's like the pivot. It's like a pivot month, I will say, right? It's like a brand new thing.
Yes.
Again, surfing rainbows on the moon is all about play, right? And the concept of play. And then when the weavers built the sun, so this, and Leo is ruled by
the sun.
The sun, right? So this is about allowing yourself to shine and to really, now when I say shine, I don't mean shiny, right? I am talking about your authentic purpose, and this is for everybody. Whatever that may be, it might be a little different. That's why the need for flexibility. You might have seen it one way, and now it's inviting you into a different form. But it's saying, go be playful with this. You know, bring your authentic self to the table and get creative. Creativity doesn't come with you have to color outside of the lines in August, which is interesting because we are changing the way we're doing some things too. We're offering Oracle School in August this year. And so it's
it's a time for our kids to go to school. I mean, all of our schools start. Isn't it interesting that we all start our school during this time?
We start our school, exactly.
And it's during July. It's during Leo where we say, okay, everybody, you've got to get excited. Because during Cancer, you were emotional, you were reflective. And now you're like, well, now it's like, how do I put my attention on myself? And that's shiny.
Right.
And that's a beautiful, and this is a really, one thing I want to say is the sun in Virgo is opposite Saturn because Saturn's in Pisces. So this, for all you Virgos watching this, it's time for discipline. It's going to come next month stronger, but during July, the sun really starts to move towards the Saturn energy because Saturn's in Aquarius, opposites just getting there. So any of you Virgos during the month of Leo, I really want to encourage you, this is the month to get yourself committed. During the month of Virgo, invitation to commit. Go.
I love that you brought up invitation to commit because there is a quality when people think of creativity, they think of things are all over the place, right? You know, they think of splashing things. What I'm saying is it is a container. Like in August, there's a container so you're not going to be without that container or that structure. So the Virgo quality brings in that structure, and then you make the commitment to see, create, be flexible, but also to shine and bring forth whatever your unique purpose is in the world that will just come through you because it's already built inside you. People don't think they have to look outside of themselves for that, and they don't. It'll just come this August. I think it's great.
And you know why else? Last thing, Mars enters Libra August 27th. So the very end of August, there's a big surge of energy that lets us do what you just said. Use your creativity. Libra is, of course, one of the most creative signs in the zodiac. And this is energetically growing. So during August, we are really getting ourselves the Leo chi to focus on August, where we're going to land it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, so let's take a look at September now. I think the cards are going to be very interesting to see how they match what you have to say.
Yes. September, you won't believe it. September has 5 planets in Earth. So we just need to stop, pause for a minute and say, very rarely, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto, with only 1 planet in air. So Earth month, super solid. And right off the top, we have a full moon, September 1st. So now the energy's building. The full moon September is in Virgo with its moon in Pisces. And this is definitely a time to get shit done, because why? Virgo grounds us, Pisces dreams us. You put the two together and you find a manifester. And then the new moon happens September 14th in the middle of the month. It always goes this way. Time to go in and under double Virgo. Let's just talk about it. These are the people that are at the worst. They should themselves. They criticize themselves. The internal dialogue is mean. And at their best, they're pure, they're sincere, and they know how to be patient. No, there's no Virgo. Yes, there is. When you study astrology, or you use these cards, or you study metaphysics, Virgo learns this mantra. I always get things done. I'm always on schedule. Now, let's hear what the cards say, because that's going to occur. And then Mercury finally goes direct. Happy birthday, September 15th, after all that retrograde, right in the middle of the month, right after that new moon. There's a new moon, and then Mercury goes direct. So September, after the high-strung energy, we have permission from watching this to put on your calendar on the middle of September, on the 14th, pause, go in, double Virgo, Mercury's going direct, and say to yourself, oh, that's right. I always get things done. Why am I letting the sky or Virgo pressure me and make me feel less than myself when I was awake enough to study with Colette and Deborah?
So here's what's interesting. You said awake enough. So this is a card that reminds us to be careful of spiritual narcolepsy, which is when we fall asleep to the fact that we are spiritual beings. I mean, we are human beings having a spiritual experience, but our spiritual experience comes first. And so when we start the month with that beautiful full moon in Pisces, which is spirit made manifest in the Virgo, which is awesome. That's why I always get excited in September, because I always get stuff done in September. It's my favorite month of the whole year. That's when I like, let's get going. And this is saying, yes, but don't let the outer world be your higher power. Don't let the to-do list be your higher power.
Exactly.
Don't let the pressure be your higher power. Got to be really grateful and happy and trust. So allow yourself to flow. So if the river flows this way, is what do we do to get out of this? Because when we're in that spiritual narcolepsy, it says, oh, no, get back into flow. Just like you said, to your point, I always get stuff done. It's always on time, whatever. Get back into your own rhythm and really be very conscious about saying, you know what? Everything will get done the way it's supposed to. I'm just going to show up for life one day at a time and do what I can because you still also need to have a more balanced approach, which is, where is my self-care? Where is that? Is that going? No, we have to bring it back.
Right.
Where's my sense of play? And what's great about this is that no matter what, you can't blow it. Like, you just have to be aware, because this is a magical month. This is when you hear the magic sing. This is a month of synchronicities. This is a month of coming out of that kind of a held space and into seeing tangible evidence of the things that you have put all your time and effort into. And you're going to actually start to see things come from out of nowhere. And that's for everybody. So we'd be watching the news, maybe we might find out that, oh my God, there's peace in this place when it wasn't possible before. Like, things are just going to happen in our material world, because it's all that earth, right? It has to be what we can see and touch and feel, and that.
I love that so much. Mm-hmm. And if people could use this magical month, because there's going to be 2 full moons, which is called a blue moon, it signifies a magical month, by actually taking the advice that things, like if every Virgo simply said to themselves daily, I always get things done. Yeah. So it relaxes their nervous system, the whole thing would change. So good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Is that what you just said?
Mark
Moon in Virgo, and he's very like self-critical and can be.
It's a pressure. They live
the
with so much
pressure,
pressure. So during
for
August,
perfection.
there is a lot of pressure that's coming. Yes.
But they're the
And
perfectionists.
September.
They get things polished too. Let's
I'm
be
going to
honest.
say yes. During August and September, we're all during that Leo Virgo energy. There is some sense, and this is what's in the collective anyways. We're all feeling slightly nervous and we don't know why. You don't need to. Okay.
Right. Okay, let's look at October. This is interesting.
You're not going to believe this. Get ready.
What?
The Grand Trine in Earth continues.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, from the whole summer, these 3 months we just described, there is nothing but grounded energy. And for the people that are earthbound, they're going to feel a little bit heavy. And the people that are light are going to feel like their pressure's on them. So it's just good to know that. Grand Trine in Earth continues from September 28th to October 5th. Oh my goodness. There's not a lot of fire in the sky. And we realized that that full moon happened on September 29th, right at the beginning of October. So the energy was building. And then the new moon is October 14th. So it always goes that way. The beginning of the month is this big energy increase. The middle of the month is the entrance into self. We do reflection and look backwards. If people want to use the moon cycles, and I know in your community, in your membership, that people use the moon cycles really consciously. It's such an important part of this reality, for God's sake. And just announcement. At the end of October is a full eclipse. There is a full moon eclipse on October 25th in Taurus. So the question of this month during this crazy, and Mars enters Scorpio, on October 12th. This is now intensely inviting you to partner, to collaborate, to work with others, to understand the role of what a Libra longs for, which is how to dance, how to hire people, how to figure out who works with you, doing reflection on your relationships. I'd love to hear the cards. What did they say?
So it's interesting because it gave another flavor to this, because in the center here, the card is if the fox can't find his tail. So it's a warning for us not to chase our tails, right? Not to go looking for the next thing, right? The next thing or the next thing, or, like to really stay as grounded, which we should be grounded, right? There we are, grounded. But I think it's because it's telling us not to look for our security in the outer world, right? To really look for our inner security, and our relationships are reflections of that. So if there is any division in your life, don't poke the bear, right? It's like, it's unnecessary. It's not about you. There's a sense of seeing chaos. You can't put your attention onto the chaos. To your point, your attention needs to be put on collaborating, not fighting.
Asking for help. Like,
asking for help.
Because there is a T-square. The first week in October, Venus is in Leo, opposite Saturn in Pisces. It's a little out of degree, but it fits perfectly geometrically. And Uranus is in Taurus. So the whole thing releases in Scorpio. So it's, to your point, the emotional discomfort or feeling like you're not really getting it together. So that's where you talk out loud. Use the Libra energy. Here we go. We're in the Libra season. Ask for help. Collaborate, call your best friend. Hi, Colette. Make sure you call your therapist and say, I don't know, this Libra month, I'm feeling scattered, or I don't feel like I'm connected, and then connect.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful time for community. So that's the other thing. It's like a time for collaboration, community, partnerships, and that's where you're going to find more grounding. I think this is a time too where I always tell people when this kind of a configuration comes up, don't look for the approval of strangers on social media, for example, which is really how it's built. So this is a month to really be careful with that, because you have to go with your people and find your people, and it's a month to find your people. So that's why you can get lost when you think the grass is greener over there or over there. But what about that? And look what they're doing. And
so Libra. That's so Libra.
Where's the balance? And that's not necessary. And the other thing is too here is to not try to push time. You may find that things may not be moving fast enough for you, but the truth is they're moving in perfect timing. So when you feel the pressure of things slowing down, but it's perfect, because that's when the rubber is holding the road. It's not hits the road, it's holding it. It's a nice ride. Like, you don't need to be going any faster in your car, like really.
Especially during October, because there's no fire in the sky.
Right.
So there's no chi. So permission to just know that you're on schedule.
On
And that you
schedule.
can, and the big thing with Libra during this month is people can feel scattered, and then Mars is going to enter Scorpio. I find that really interesting. Mars enters Scorpio on October 12th, and this is a real chance to now back to that struggle we were talking about to
Yeah.
start with the T-square releasing a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Now you really have to say, I'm going to focus, and I'm going to take this attention of all this other, do you like me, and all the approval and all the people, and get simple.
And the focus too is about your mission. It's about, how do I bring more beauty to the world? Where's my music that I'm, right? I'm bringing my music. I'm bringing my, like, when I say music, art, I'm saying this is you. Your note in the symphony of life is needed in October, and it's not a fast song. It's a ground, and if you let yourself settle into it, yeah, it's going to be beautiful. Just be careful of those things. Some of you may not even feel that, but some of you may like, ooh, yeah, that's me. I shouldn't do that. So the other thing is too, as you end the month, the focus, that whole focused piece,
that eclipse
is also that next layer of literally letting die everything that in your personality that shouldn't come forward as you become the person. And that's what we teach in Oracle School too, is who do you need to become to have the life you say you want? So this is a real sense of becoming. And
That's
like,
so
I can't
perfect.
bring this part of myself with me.
So that
yeah.
big eclipse, which is in Taurus,
Yeah.
you take advantage of the flavor of the eclipse, and it's Taurus, non-attachment. Buddha was a
Okay.
Taurus, and he let go of things. He threw things away. So I'm going to suggest, to your point, during that full moon eclipse at the very end, October 28th, ask yourself, do I need to release? Is it parts of myself, like Colette said? Is it things? Like that
Yeah.
eclipse is going to give you an opportunity. Every eclipse does. Every eclipse is a chance to stop time. In
Yep.
this conversation, exactly
Stop
what you
time.
said, let go, because it's Taurus, where we get so attached, and give yourself permission to say, wow, like the Buddha did, all suffering comes from attachment.
Yeah.
Everything that makes you sad is that someone didn't do it that way. I didn't get that. I didn't get enough likes. Hold on. Release the attachment for wanting all the approval during that eclipse, during Taurus, and say, I have exactly what I need. This is the life I created.
Love it.
What a relief.
So now let's go to November. I know there's a great story here because the cards are segueing perfectly with what you just said, but we still need to touch on the full moon at the end of October.
That's right. So the full moon actually in Scorpio happened on the 28th. Welcome to November. You'll feel the energy as soon as the full moon happens. It lasts. You know how you look up at the sky and you think, is that the full moon? Because for 3 days it looks like the full moon. So the energies are really big. So the last of October, we walk into November with the full moon, and we have another grand trine in Earth that started on October 28th and lasts all the way through November 7th. The sun in Scorpio is opposite Uranus. This only happens once a year, that the sun's opposite Uranus. So it's a little chaotic. If a baby were born, they would have revolutionary energy, but it'd be like the kid to mom says, can you sit down? And the kid can't sit down. So it's a little wiggly this month. I just want to say that. And the important dates are that there's a new moon on November 13th. So the very end of October is the full moon. November 13th is the new moon. And what's it like during a double Scorpio sky? Let's all try to guess. Secret sauce. Like it takes you in, and it goes into pleasure at its best and pain at its worst. I always say when people make love, you're wondering, does that sound mean they're having fun or does it hurt?
Right.
That's very Scorpio. It's pain and pleasure. It's intensity. And that is the month. We have a very intense November. I'm curious to see how the world responds during this month.
Right.
Because when Uranus is opposite the sun, it makes electrical energy. So what do the cards say?
Okay, so the approach is that it's when the grit becomes a pearl, you get a chance to see how far you've come in November. Right? You actually get a chance to see how well you handle the wiggle. You get a chance to find out all the work that you actually put in up until now, because the card that flanks is it also underneath the lizard's skin. It's that you have peeled away a lot of the old psyche so that you can meet the world where it is, with even though it is intense, etc. How basically you're going to get a chance to see, to put into practice everything that you've learned up until now as well. The electricity piece, I wonder, just on an intuitive level, that there could be issues with the internet or issues with the electrical grid on the planet, even like nuclear things. I'm not suggesting that there's anything like a bomb. I'm just saying is like everything feels so like it could even be AI, right? Because it's electricity. It's like
Totally.
like a revelation a revolution in something technology. So that'll be interesting to see what happens
That would
in
make
November.
so much sense, especially after the eclipse. So
Right?
because that would be a marker for something electrical in the name of Uranus that would be radical and a departure. And I love what you're saying about you're doing better than you think. And during
Yeah.
a Scorpio, the high road of Scorpio is they have real confidence. They settle inside their own emotional body calmly. The low road of Scorpio is they're insecure and they're mean. So
Right.
if we're taking the high road, and that's our invitation to you during this new moon in Scorpio, start acknowledging how much better you're doing than you think.
I don't even feel the mean quality this month at all. I feel that was more like in Cancer. I felt like, guard against your own mean person in your head. This is much more about awe and revelation and like, holy moly, look at this. Like, what do we do now? Oh, wow. Like, it's more of an, oh, wow.
That is
month.
true. Because
You know what I
Venus is
mean?
in Libra. Venus is in Libra, very sweet. Saturn stays stationary at 0 degrees Pisces, very sweet. And double Scorpio, no one ever tells you they're sweet. I mean, I don't know why they get a bad rap. Because I love Scorpio.
I have so many great girlfriends, Scorpio. And, we both are friends with Aisha, who's a triple Scorpio, and she's amazing. Like, I find Scorpio people fascinating because they're
Of course you
deep
do,
and
little Cancer.
interesting.
I do too.
Right?
So let's rewrite this month in sweetness.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that with you and say that eclipse in Taurus, you made a marker. I wonder what decision you made because it's really important to use the eclipses. And then during Scorpio, you settle in and do the sweet version of recognizing how good you're doing.
Yeah, and also because it is about death, but it's rebirth, right? Like, remember, there's the phoenix, there's a scorpion. So you think of the phoenix that rises up out of its own ashes. That's also been part of this transformational time that we've had. Now we've been so grounded in all those Earth planets, especially with Pluto going backwards into Capricorn. That's still a big thing because it affects the entire collective, even though it's affected.
It's the final run. It's the end of the
final
story.
run where you see what you've built as a result of all the like having to let certain things go and rebuild. So I don't know. I think it's a little destabilizing, but it could also be very exciting.
I like your positive reframe. Your Saturn and Sag is showing through. November 27th is the full moon. So the end of November once again. So now notice the end of the month, the energy builds for the first of the month. And we just had Scorpio invite us to be sweet and acknowledge ourselves and AI. I'll be so curious during that.
Sweet
Uranus
and
drift.
meaningful. Because, right, Scorpio likes meaning, deep meaning, right? So there's a deeply meaningful connection. I know, me too. All right, now last but not least, let's look at the last month of the year in December and see what we can look forward to.
This is so great because here comes December, which is winter for us in North America. It's also Christmas. It brings the spirit of generosity. We just finished Scorpio where we were really feeling our inner world going in. Now Sag comes in, that full moon in Gemini on November 27th. And then Mars enters Sag too. So we're going to have December has a lot of chi, a lot of motivation. And then Mercury is conjunct Mars in Sag by Christmas. There's a lot of fiery energy this month. There's a lot of get up and go, celebrate, be generous, overextend, overeat, overspend. You got all that, Sag, right?
I love that.
Have it.
So the cards here talk about bringing your people close, right? So it's like, woo, and feeling quite protected. So something's going to happen that we don't know yet. Like, we haven't figured it out. What's going to happen in the outer world? Is it the end of a war? Is it what happens that all of a sudden there's a galvanization of people who are saying, you know what? We have our people. We are together. And
something positive.
Right, something positive, because then it has all is calm upon these shores that we can relax into our overeating, right? Like, not that we're going to overeat, but we're going to relax into our celebration. It feels not fraught. There's no fraught quality. There has been for the past, year or two. And the other thing is to recognize that we're not where we want to be going yet, but it's okay because we're in this magical time in the in-between. We are no longer where we were, but we're in this new regrouping and rebuilding and a reconsideration, but having fun and being wild a little bit with all that energy, because now we have all this motivation. It's like somebody shot us out of a cannon in December. Right?
Yes. What you can imagine by December 12th, there's a double Sag sky. Mars is in Sag. And then just announcement On the 13th, Mercury goes retrograde.
So I wonder what the Mercury retrograde is, why we're taking a look at, because when you're neither here nor there, you have to slow down to look, right? So I'm not there yet. The in-between phase, yeah. So that's like stop a little bit, and still while you're having a party, watch, still be conscious and mindful in the big celebratory moment.
That's exactly the wisdom of December. Be conscious and mindful, and be aware that the middle of the month, Mercury goes retrograde right during Christmas. Won't that be wild? So to your point, though, I know you love Mercury retrograde.
I love
Stop and slow down, and then reflect on the positive, because during Sagittarius, if you do anything but reflect on the positive, you're on the wrong street. Because they make everything, that's what Christmas is. That's what New Year's is. We start again. We get excited.
Yeah, we start again. And it's great. I mean, I do think that, I recognize that, when people watch these videos, they see, how does this apply to me? But we are part of a collective. Now more than ever, we can actually see how we're impacted by our collective story, because we are stories in motion, and we're rewriting our story. We just are.
Well, that's what you and I have done our whole lifetime.
That's right.
That's the invitation of these videos. We're giving you a chance to say, oh, Christmas is coming. Mercury's going retrograde. Here went the full moon at the beginning of the month. I hope you all learned this from watching this. The middle of the month, I went in. During an eclipse, I reflected. These are all clues to rewrite your story, because our grandparents didn't get to do this.
No,
who watched videos? Imagine? Whoever knew how to follow the moon or listen to the cards, or this was like all done in secret behind doors that people wouldn't let you know about it, or it was dangerous.
Yeah,
not anymore. Well, we wrote the story. We rewrote the story.
Deborah, thank you so much. You know how much I love you. Thank you, everybody. Deborah Silverman. There'll be information about how to see her in our whatever it is that we have here. And thank you so much, Deb. And I think we have lots to look forward to.
We do. Just an attitude shift. Beep.
Get ready.
Beep.